She said, "I want an open relationship. I'm not ready to be exclusive." I said, "Fine." Then I actually started seeing other people. She called me crying, saying that's not what she meant. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. I met Lena at a friend's rooftop party last summer. The kind of night where the city feels alive and you forget you have work the next morning. She was standing near the bar, laughing at something one of my coworkers said. And I remember thinking she had one of those smiles that made you feel like she already knew you. We started talking about nothing in particular. Movies, travel, random memes. And I swear 2 hours passed before I realized the party around us had emptied out. When I walked her home, she made some joke about not letting guys walk her to her door because that's how you get kidnapped. But she said it with a grin that told me she didn't really mind. I texted her the next morning. She replied immediately. From that day, it was like someone hit fast forward. We were seeing each other every other night. Dinners, lazy Sundays, shared playlists. Her head on my chest while she scrolled TikTok and laughed at videos I didn't even understand. She was intense in a way that made you feel lucky just to be around her. One moment she was affectionate, warm, asking about my family. And the next she'd pull away, go quiet, and say she needed space. It was confusing, but I told myself that's just how modern dating is. Messy, non-linear, complicated. And I didn't want to be that guy who pushes for labels too soon. She teased me sometimes. "You're such a relationship guy, aren't you?" And I'd laugh it off, pretending it didn't sting. Because yes, I was. I wasn't looking to play games. I like consistency. I like knowing where I stood. But with Lena, everything felt like walking a tightrope over a foggy canyon. The highs were addictive. Spontaneous road trips, surprise coffee deliveries at work, the way she grabbed my face and kissed me mid-sentence, and the lows were quiet, cold, like she could turn the warmth off at will. Still, I stuck around. She had this way of making you feel like the problem was in your head, that if you just chilled out, everything would be fine again. When my best friend Mark asked if we were official, I hesitated. "I think so," I said. "We haven't really talked about." He gave me that look. The one that means you know better. But I brushed it off. Then one night, we were lying in bed, her scrolling through her phone, me tracing lazy circles on her back, when she said it out of nowhere. "I just don't want to rush into something serious, you know. I really like you, but I'm not ready for exclusivity." It hit like a bucket of cold water. I asked what she meant exactly, but she just said, "I want us to be open. No pressure, no rules, just honesty." I stared at the ceiling, heart pounding, trying not to sound hurt. She added softly, "I don't want you to think I'm seeing anyone else right now. I just don't want to feel boxed in." And like an idiot, I said, "Fine." I thought I was being mature, respectful, understanding, but deep down, I think I already knew. I just agreed to be her backup plan. The next morning, she acted like nothing happened. She kissed me on the cheek, stole one of my hoodies, and said, "Don't forget we're meeting up Friday." I remember standing in the doorway as she left, trying to decide if last night had been a conversation or a breakup I didn't notice happening. Friday came. We went out with a group of her friends, mostly people from her yoga studio. All free spirits who spoke in vague sentences like, "Labels just limit your energy." I nodded along, pretending to get it. But the whole time I felt like an outsider. Lena, on the other hand, looked right at home, laughing, tossing her hair, talking about vibes and connection. When we got home, she curled up next to me like everything was normal. I asked quietly, So this open thing, how do we define that? She sighed like I'd asked her to do my taxes and said, "We don't have to define it, babe. It's just about being honest. If something happens with someone else, I'll tell you. And if something happens with you, you tell me. No guilt. No control." She said it like she was offering me freedom, but it didn't feel like freedom. It felt like a door creaking open, just wide enough for me to hear footsteps leaving. I tried to play along. I told myself I could handle it. For the first week, nothing seemed to change. She still texted every morning, still came over, still kissed me like she meant it. I almost convinced myself it was just a theoretical idea, something she said to sound modern. Then came the little shifts. She'd say she was grabbing drinks with friends and come home late, smelling like men's cologne. She'd laugh at her phone, hide the screen, then tell me I was acting jealous. One night, she was half asleep on my chest and murmured a name that wasn't mine. I told myself I misheard. Every time I tried to bring it up, she'd make me feel like I was the one crossing a line. "This is why people can't be honest," she'd say. "You say you're fine with it, but then you get weird." So I shut up. I convinced myself it was just a phase, that she'd get it out of her system. Meanwhile, one Saturday morning, she posted a story. Her clinking glasses with someone, captioned, "New energy sparkles." The glass wasn't the problem. It was the reflection in the window, a man's face, half visible, smiling. That was when it hit me. She didn't want an open relationship. She wanted a safety net, someone who'd listen to her day after she finished flirting with strangers. Someone who'd make her breakfast, fix the Wi-Fi, and still be waiting when she was done exploring. And I was dumb enough to play the role. Mark saw right through it. He came over one night, watched me scrolling her feed like a zombie, and said, "Man, you're not in an open relationship. You're just single and don't know it yet." He was right. But instead of leaving, I said something even dumber. "I'll give it a little more time. Maybe she'll figure it out." Spoiler, she did figure something out. Just not what I hoped. After that night, things settled into this strange rhythm that wasn't really a relationship anymore, but also wasn't nothing. Lena would disappear for days, busy with work, catching up with friends, going to yoga retreats. She always had an excuse. And every time she reappeared, she'd act like nothing happened. She'd show up at my door with coffee, kiss me like she hadn't just gone silent for 72 hours, and ask, "Did you miss me?" I always said yes. I wish I'd lied. When we were together, she'd be sweet, attentive, present. She'd lean her head on my shoulder during movies, cook breakfast in her oversized hoodie, and talk about future vacations we'd maybe take someday. But every time I got comfortable, she'd pull away again, like emotional whiplash. It started to feel like she was pressing invisible buttons, keeping me right where she wanted me, close enough to be convenient, far enough to stay free. One night I finally said, "You know, it feels like you're not really here when you're here." She rolled her eyes. "God, you're so intense sometimes. This is exactly why I didn't want something exclusive. I can't be around that pressure all the time." Pressure. That's what she called me, asking if she was seeing someone else. I stopped asking. I stopped talking much, honestly, but I still stayed because I thought leaving would make me the bad guy. Like I couldn't handle her boundaries. I told myself that maybe this was just how modern love worked. That being chill was what adults did. The truth, I wasn't chill. I was numb. Every time she posted a photo that hinted at another man, a drink across the table, a jacket that wasn't mine, a hand that lingered too close, it felt like getting punched in slow motion. And then one Thursday night, she called while I was gaming with Mark. Her voice was soft, a little drunk. "Can you come over?" she asked. Of course I did. When I got there, she was in one of my old shirts, candles lit, everything perfect. She wrapped her arms around me and whispered, "I missed you." It was good. Too good. That kind of intimacy that makes you forget all the red flags. But I didn't look. I didn't want to, but she did. She froze, glanced at the screen, then flipped it over. Her whole body language changed. Stiff. Distracted. Afterward, she fell asleep instantly. I couldn't. That was the night something in me snapped, quietly. Like a switch flipping. I lay there staring at her, realizing I wasn't even angry anymore, just empty. In the morning, Mark texted me later. "Bro, I saw her at the corner cafe with some guy holding hands." I didn't even reply, because for the first time, I wasn't surprised. I just sat there, staring at my reflection in the dark TV screen and thought, "You deserve this, man. You agreed to it." But then, something shifted. Maybe it was exhaustion. Maybe it was pride finally waking up. Whatever it was, I realized if she could play this game, so could I. If we were open, then it was time for me to actually be open. It started small. Not revenge. Not even defiance. Just curiosity. One night, I was scrolling through my phone, staring at her New Energy Sparkles story for the 100th time, when I saw an old notification from a dating app I'd downloaded months ago and never used. I opened it out of boredom. Half an hour later, I'd rewritten my bio, changed my photos, and hit reactivate. I wasn't even expecting anything, but within a day, I had matches. Actual normal women. People who seemed interested. People who didn't treat attention like a currency. That first week, I went on one date. Just coffee with a girl named Emily. She was funny, down to earth. Worked in marketing. No games, no cryptic texts, no disappearing acts. I didn't tell Lena, obviously. But I also didn't lie. The second date was dinner. The third, drinks that turned into a long walk by the river. Then a kiss that felt like something I'd forgotten existed. Soft. Simple. Honest. When I woke up the next morning, I had this bizarre mix of guilt and clarity, because it hit me. I'd done nothing wrong. Lena was the one who wanted an open relationship. I was just finally playing by her rules. That weekend, she texted me for the first time in days. "Lena, you've been quiet. Everything okay?" "Me?" "Yeah, just busy." "Lena." "With what?" "Me?" "You said we were open, remember?" No reply. Then, 20 minutes later, Lena. "Oh, okay. Just don't do anything stupid." That line, "don't do anything stupid," stuck in my head, like she still thought she had veto power over my life. So the next night, I posted something small. Just a photo of 2 cocktails on a bar table. No caption. No tags. No faces. By the next morning, I had 7 missed calls and 3 texts. "Lena, who's the drink for?" "Lena, are you seriously seeing someone?" "Lena, so you're trying to hurt me now?" It was almost funny. The sudden panic from someone who'd insisted we keep things open. When I didn't respond, she called. I let it ring. Then she texted again. "I just didn't think you'd actually do it." That line, I just stared at it for a long time, because that was the truth. She never thought I'd have the guts to move on. She thought open meant she got freedom while I waited around. For once, I didn't argue. I didn't explain. I didn't justify myself. I just went about my day. Gym, work, another date. Emily and I were laughing over pizza when Lena texted again. "Can we talk?" I ignored it. And the silence drove her insane. Over the next few days, she switched tactics from guilt to nostalgia. "Remember our first weekend trip? I still have your hoodie. I miss us." But the thing is, she didn't miss me. She missed being able to control the dynamic. She missed being the one who decided when, and how we talked. For the first time since I'd met her, I didn't drop everything to respond. And the less I said, the more she tried. She started showing up to my place unannounced, just to talk. She'd bring my favorite snacks, linger at the door, ask who I'd been seeing. I told her politely, "You said we're open, Lena. I'm just doing what we agreed to." The look on her face, a mix of confusion and betrayal, said it all. Because suddenly, her own rules didn't feel so empowering anymore. When she left that night, she slammed the door harder than necessary. I just sat there on the couch, calm for the first time in months. It wasn't about payback. Not yet. It was about peace. And for the first time, I had it. But peace has a way of tempting chaos, especially when the person who lost control isn't ready to accept it. And Lena, she was about to show me exactly how ugly hypocrisy looks when it's cornered. It didn't take long for the mask to slip. About a week after that slammed door, I was getting ready for work when my phone lit up with her name. I let it ring twice, then answered. She was crying, not the quiet, sniffly kind. Full-on, sobbing, the kind where you can barely make out words. "I can't believe you're actually seeing someone. You're just doing this to hurt me, aren't you?" For a second, I didn't even know what to say. She was the one who demanded the open relationship. The one who told me not to be clingy. The one who went radio silent for days at a time. And now, suddenly, she was acting like I had betrayed her. I tried to stay calm. "Lena, you said you didn't want exclusivity. You wanted freedom. I just took you at your word." "But I didn't mean you," she said. "I meant I needed time. I didn't want you to just go out and replace me." That word, replace, hit differently because it told me everything I needed to know. She never wanted to lose control. She wanted the freedom to explore while knowing I'd still be waiting in the background, ready to pick up the emotional slack when she got bored or lonely. And I'll be honest, a few months earlier, that speech might have worked on me, but now, it just sounded pathetic. I said quietly, "You told me you wanted an open relationship. You can't be mad that I stopped pretending we were exclusive." She sniffled. "You're just doing this to prove a point." "No," I said. "You did that. I'm just living by the point you made." That shut her up for a second. Then came the classic pivot. Guilt. "You don't even care about me anymore, do you?" I didn't answer, because the truth was, I still cared. Just not in the same way. Not the self-destructive, anxious, bend-over-backward kind of caring. This version was colder, calmer, detached. The next day, she showed up at my apartment. No warning, just pounding on the door until I opened it. She looked wrecked. Puffy eyes, messy hair, wearing one of my old shirts like some kind of emotional costume. "Can we talk?" she said, voice cracking. I let her in. She paced for a minute, then blurted, "I just didn't think you'd actually do it. I thought this would make us stronger. I thought you'd wait." I almost laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was so on brand. "Wait for what, Lena?" I asked. "For you to figure out if I'm worth committing to? For you to get bored of everyone else first?" She didn't answer, just stared at the floor. Then she whispered, "I hate how much this hurts." For a second, I almost softened. Almost. But then I remembered all the nights I'd sat there staring at my phone while she was out finding herself. All the times she made me feel crazy for wanting clarity. So instead, I said, "Yeah, it sucks. But that's what happens when you play games with people who actually care." She started crying again. I let her. When she finally looked up, she said, "Can we just start over, please? I'll delete the apps. I'll stop seeing anyone else. I just want you." And maybe if she'd said that 2 months earlier, I would have melted. But standing there, watching her say it only after she lost control, It felt hollow. I said, "You don't get to ask for exclusivity after burning it down." She stared at me like she didn't recognize me anymore, like she'd finally realized the dynamic had flipped and she couldn't charm her way out this time. "Wow," she said. Finally, her voice sharp now. "You've really changed." "Yeah," I said. "Guess that open relationship thing worked after all." She stormed out, slammed the door again. But this time, I didn't feel angry or sad, just done. Later that night, I got one last text from her. "You'll regret this." I stared at it, smiled a little, and replied, "I already did for months. Not anymore." Then I blocked her, and for the first time in a long time, the silence felt good. Not heavy, not anxious, just peaceful. But I had no idea she wasn't done yet, because people like Lena, they don't accept losing control quietly. And the next time I saw her, she wasn't crying. She was angry. It took about 2 weeks for her to reappear. I'd almost started believing the silence would last, that maybe she'd moved on, and I could finally breathe without waiting for the next emotional boomerang. But people like Lena don't vanish. They circle back when the attention fades. She texted out of nowhere, "Hey, can we meet? I just want to talk. No drama, I promise." I ignored it for a day. Then 2. On the 3rd, she sent another, "Please, just coffee. I need closure." I don't know why I agreed. Maybe I wanted closure too. Or maybe I wanted to prove to myself that I could look her in the eye and not fall apart this time. We met at this small cafe near the park, the same one we used to go to after Sunday walks. When I got there, she was already sitting at a corner table, hair done perfectly, makeup soft and understated, the version of her that always appeared when she wanted something. "Hey," she said softly, like nothing had ever happened. I sat down. "Hey." There was this long, awkward silence before she finally said, "You look good." I nodded. "Thanks. You too." She smiled, like she took that as an invitation to open up. "I've been thinking a lot," she started. "About us. About what went wrong. And I don't like how we ended things." I didn't say anything. She kept talking. "I know I said I wanted freedom. I thought that's what I needed. But being with other people, it made me realize what we had was real. You were stable, kind, honest. I miss that. I miss you." There it was, the nostalgic script, the self-discovery monologue. I could have recited it with her. She reached across the table, fingers brushing mine. "I don't care about anyone else," she said. "I want to make this work. For real this time." For a moment, I just looked at her. She was beautiful. She always had been. But for the first time, I could see right through it. The performance, the charm, the selective vulnerability that only appeared when she needed to win. I leaned back, folded my hands, and said quietly, "You know what's funny?" She blinked. "What?" "You wanted freedom. I gave it to you. And when I finally took it too, you realized you didn't like the taste of it." Her face tightened. "That's not fair." "No," I said. "It's completely fair. You made the rules. You just didn't think I'd play." She sat back, arms crossed now. "So what? You're done? Just like that?" I nodded. "Yeah, I am." Her eyes watered. Not anger this time. Shock. She wasn't used to me being composed while she fell apart. "You can't just walk away like this," she said. I looked at her for a long moment, then said the line that had been sitting on my tongue for weeks. "You wanted an open relationship, Lena. I just opened the door and walked through it." She didn't respond. Didn't even blink, just stared. like she couldn't process that the guy who once begged for her attention was now the one calmly ending things. I stood up, left a few bills for my coffee, and said quietly, "Take care of yourself." When I walked out, she didn't call after me. She just sat there, frozen. And as I stepped outside into the cold, I realized something I hadn't in months. I felt light, like I'd been holding my breath since the day she said open, and I was finally exhaling. It's been 6 months since that conversation. Lena tried reaching out a few times. The usual, "hope you're doing okay" messages. The late night, "miss you" texts. The subtle likes on my Instagram stories. I never responded. Eventually, they stopped. I found out through mutual friends that her freedom didn't pan out the way she imagined. The guy she'd been seeing left after a few weeks. The next one ghosted her. By the time she realized she'd burned her best bridge, I was already gone. Not in a petty way, just done. Emily and I are still together. She's steady where Lena was chaotic. We talk about things instead of playing games. If something's wrong, she says it. It's not fireworks all the time. It's calm. It's easy, and that's exactly what I needed. Every once in a while, I'll scroll past one of Lena's posts. A selfie with some vague caption like, "learning to love myself," and I don't feel angry anymore. Just distant. Detached. It's funny how fast the love of your life can become just another person you used to know. Sometimes Mark jokes about it. "Man, remember when you were basically her emotional support boyfriend?" I laugh, but it's a different kind of laugh now. Not bitter, just wiser. If I learned anything from that whole mess, it's this. When someone tells you what they want, believe them the first time. And if what they want doesn't include you, don't stick around waiting for them to change their mind. Because when someone asks for freedom, they're really testing how much of yourself you'll give up before you finally take your own back. I gave mine back piece by piece. The night I said fine. The moment I stopped checking my phone. The first time I said no. And the last time I looked her in the eye and realized she couldn't hurt me anymore. Lena wanted an open relationship. What she got was an open door. And when I walked through it, I didn't look back. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.